I'm one of the few people out here who actually covers like books. And of course, I only care about science fiction and fantasy books. I feel like it's in the wheelhouse of comics. It's kind of similar in that regard. But I've been an avid book reader forever. And of course, the book industry has really been collapsing over recent years. And of course, we've seen big name authors who were making tons of money not make nearly as much money off of Amazon anymore, which is the only spot there is in town at this point. There's really not a bookstore market like there used to be. So Vox Day actually put out a wonderful blog this morning who actually talks about what happened and why Amazon did this. So I want to highlight this information for you guys who are book readers, just to, for the picture of the global market. And I'll talk about kind of like what we're doing, I guess, on that front, because, of course, Vox and I are trying to wean ourselves off of Amazon to some degree. Now, Amazon, for me, is still a pretty good selling spot. It isn't what it used to be also, and it is because of what I'm about to show you. But on the other front, we are trying to develop more on my personal website, more on Subscribestar and things like that, and hopefully you'll come on board. My name's John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author and award-winning comic creator. If you're new to the channel, this is my Subscribestar I mentioned before. It's a Patreon alternative because I'm banned from Patreon. And so I am making my content on here. We're producing just stories, whether it's prose, whether it's comics, it's all on here. If you just want to support the channel even just for these efforts, I would love for you to get on here along with the other folk who have started. And we've been growing very, very well. My goal is to get 300 people on here eventually, and I know we can do it as we get bigger. Might take a couple of years, but we're going to get to the point where I'm going to be putting out monthly comics to compete with the mainstream industry. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you get on board early. I really appreciate all of you guys who are on there. You know who you are. I don't know if I should name people or not because being associated with me is something weird, but thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for believing in the dream. So here we are. How KU destroyed the ebook market. And here's what Vox says. At first glance, Amazon's Kindle Unlimited books looks like a great deal to serious readers. For only $9.99 per month, you can read whatever you want from a catalog of more than 2.5 million books. And it is a great deal for now. The downside is it has terrible consequences for authors and publishers alike. The consequences that will continue to get worse over time. Here's the fundamental problem the KU program has. The proper price range for an ebook, as defined by Amazon, is $2.99 to $9.99. Outside that range, the 70% royalty is halved. So the relevant, and that's what you get. So if I put up my ebooks, I get 70%. Amazon takes 30%. It's very similar to YouTube, super chats, and ad revenue and all that. So here it is. While the big four publishers price their ebooks at $9.99, Castelia and me generally puts at $4.99. So we use that for the purposes of analysis. And we do this as indies because, look, when you have to pay for a big publisher's whole bottom line, that's why they price them at that point. Ours are at a lesser expense because all the money's going directly to me when you buy these books. And so there's nobody else. It's just my operating expenses for life. And this is how I make my living. So there it is. Using a hypothetical 300-page book as an example, an ebook sale gives you around $3.49 in royalties for the publisher after Amazon deducts its delivery fees and infrastructure charges. A full Kindle read of the same book gets about $1.20 per finished book. And this is where the deal is not very good for authors. Now, the precise amount depends on the KNP royalty, which has recently averaged around 0.004 per page read. So that's really not good, especially if you're writing shorter books. What's happened is some weird stuff. People were trying to game the system by putting out samples of the next book or just loading up extra pages at the end of their past works and things like that to make these books look a lot bigger than they actually were, so people would scroll through them, and Amazon would do this. It's actually wrecked a lot of ebooks on that front, and it's been absolutely terrible just from the product standpoint. On the other front, what's this done is it's made it so that actual professional authors don't want this, and so you're getting people pulling out of this, and KU's being dominated by people who are amateurs, who are just doing this as a hobby, and that just floods the market with more of that stuff, making it more difficult for the people who, like myself and of course, Vox and others who are putting out higher quality product just to get seen, because Amazon shows those that are more in those Kindle Unlimited spots than not. Now, I have some of my books in Kindle Unlimited, and some of my books are not in Kindle Unlimited. And I do this as I'm just trying to make people go to my website to buy ebooks and books for some stuff. And of course, my big series and things like that people are finding on Amazon, I keep in there just because, kind of needs to be, again, in order to get seen. So there's a couple of things here. So a lot of people say I wouldn't be able to be reading so many books if not for KU, which is Kindle Unlimited. It allows me trying new authors and series. But Vox actually does the math on this. Now, if you're getting tried out and somebody's reading one book, I mean, how much are you actually gaining from this? And it turns out that if you do all the math of if it was like this without it, if you're looking at the people who would be actually completing a book or actually buying a book, you're actually losing out on a lot of sales at the end of the day and losing out on a lot of revenue through this. You can go to his blog here, voxday.net, and actually read the entire article for yourself. We don't just read things here, we give analysis. And so this is where the Amazon state's at. It is destroying both big publishers and small at an alarming rate. And of course, as the culture is going to a point where people don't even read that much anyway, because people are so ADD at this juncture, they can't sit through a novel. Things are getting bad in the author world. Now, we're trying to do different things. We've got new strategies going out there. Like I said, I'm releasing books on my own website. I'm releasing books through voxdaysarchaven.com. And of course, giving those tryouts on archaven.com, where you can check out, my Justified book, which is starting to be up there, will generate more sales than like Amazon, because people read those on sites like that and they actually want to contribute and support me. This is where people come in on the Subscribe Star and things like that in order to support my efforts on there, which I really appreciate. And it's actually working very, very well on that front. You have to move to a system, Brian Niemeyer, a great author, talks about, of neo-patronage at this point, because these big companies and these big storefronts are not providing what they used to in terms of the ability to get exposure and the ability to get seen. So big news for the publishing industry. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you being there. Hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment with what you think. Are you reading books? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you soon.